Okay.
Hello and welcome back. My name is Ebony Douglas and I represent N.I.G.G.A and Ebony Onyx.
And I'm Stephanie Jones, representing I'm Aware.
And together we make
Group Economics.
So Group Economics is, we started off as a t-shirt printing company. We both print t-shirts and I print under Ebony Onyx and ENDTs. Stephanie prints under I Am Aware. But together we made Group Economics. Mm-hmm. And that we wanted to print shirts and bring positive affirmations to our community because we've seen a lot of shirts with a lot of different stuff. But we was like, let's bring some positivity to the world. Yes. You know, it's enough hostility in the world. So we're like, hey, let's bring some positivity to the world. But that turned into us actually saying, well, hey, we want to do more for our community. So we said, hey, with doing more for our community, we end up doing things like the warm weather wear, our mobile Friendsgiving, our book bag drive.
Annual book bag drive, yes.
And actually, we just posted an annual book bag drive on Group Econ. Go follow us on Instagram. And you'll see.
So it's not personally ours, but working with another like-minded successor. Yes, so we're excited about that.
That's Foundation. Wolfpack Towing is the gentleman that actually runs that foundation. So we help out with that book bag drive. So anytime you buy a shirt, you like these shirts, you know. Yes. Anytime you buy a shirt, those proceeds goes towards our warm weather wear, any other things that we do in the community, even up our grab bags that we give out. So we see someone that's less fortunate, we'll give them a grab bag, it's a love token, or, you know, helping us with our meals because we're trying to build up a little pantry for our community, you know?
Yes.
Yeah. So, our ultimate goal is basically...
Yes, our ultimate goal is networking with like-minded successors to accomplish economic growth and helping others obtain skills because it's absolutely necessary.
Absolutely necessary. If you don't have the skills, sometimes you just let things happen to you. You know, if you don't stand for something, you fall for anything. Right. You know the whole saying.
And skills help pay the bills. It can be little or small skills, but obtaining skills.
Gotta obtain those skills. Mm-hmm. So with that being said, we've been doing a podcast because we said, you know what, not only do we want to just give out things, let's give out some information that we never might have even known. We've taken classes, we've taken seminars, we've been in parent seminars, we've just done different things, I've been in different trainings, different seminars, gotten different certifications, and in that, we learned that there's a lot of topics that in our community were never addressed.
Right.
And a lot of things that just never were brought to light. And with that stuff not being brought to light, we're suffering.
Yeah, definitely falling short amongst ourselves and others just to bring in small bits of awareness with this knowledge. Yes, we're not certified, but we have certifications that help us be able to bring more light to certain conversations and certain topics to help you think, help you grow your mindset a little bit better to being your best you and to help others around yourself as well, build your circle.
So like we said, we're here to have a conversation. It's conversations with like-minded successors. Yes. And our main topic and reason for the vlog is just a blog, podcast, whatever you want to call it, is to bring attentiveness and to perception and how it comes and drives every life choice that you make. It's in our previous episodes, we talked about perception in general and how it creates thugs and haters. And then we started to bring it on a more positive beat, and we let you know about how PTSD, I know it sounds crazy, but go check the episode out. I'm not going to tell you what it is. I'm just going to tell you PTSD, but how you can use PTSD to your advantage. Yes. And while having some PYT. Not a pretty young thing. I know I'm pretty. I know we some pretty. I know we pretty and we young, but not that PYT.
Right. Go check us out.
But check out the last episodes. This is episode 5, and that was episode 4 and episode 3. And if you keep going back, you'll see how these topics kind of go into each other and tie into each other. So with that being said, today we're going to get a little bit more controversial. It's controversial. It's words that I used to say all the time when I was younger and things that you used to call people that were very derogatory. But we're going to put a positive spin on it today. Yes. So today we're going to talk about, what's our topics?
Bitch and nigga.
Bitch and nigga. And some people can be a bitch nigga, but we ain't going to talk about that. Right. We're going to get into the real topic. So I know it's more controversial, but we're taking a whole nother approach to it. So we know this going to touch some bells and ring some bells for some people, but let's really get into this.
Let's get into it. Yes.
So, bitch, behaving intelligently through chaos and hostility.
Behaving intelligently. Not just behaving, but behaving intelligently.
Usually when you get called that word, it's like, you know how Tupac got that song, I wonder why they call you bitch. Wonder why they call you. Yeah, no. We talk about how behaving intelligently through chaos and hostility.
Yeah.
As well as when you say nigga, and again, another Tupac. I don't know if you know this, but I like Tupac. Nigga is, I'd rather be your N.I.G.G.A. Well, now imagine giving gratitude authentically.
Yes.
You like that? Now imagine giving gratitude authentically. So when you behave intelligently through chaos and hostility, you can imagine yourself giving gratitude authentically. You can show that gratitude authentically because you thought about it and
more thankful for the better outcome that your mindset allow you to grow and be like, I ain't got to be all irate and be all chaotic through this. Like, thank you for showing me that I could do better, that this can be a greater thing, and yet here we are turning that negative into a strong positive,
a very strong positive. Yes. So one of the things I'm working with my 11-year-old, we're working with making good decisions. And in making good decisions, the last step of making good decisions is actually to reflect and rethink about the decision that you made. Because we're going to make decisions throughout our lives. We're going to make decisions throughout our day that might not have been good decisions. But the key to that is if you think back about your day at the end of the day, or if you got a parent that's asking you, or a spouse, or a loved one, just anybody that's like, hey, how'd your day go? That's when you can take that time to reevaluate, like, what are some of the decisions that I made today? And then, do I stand by those decisions? Maybe I shouldn't make that same decision later. Or maybe, what did you learn from that?
Right.
So, when you behave intelligently through chaos, and I got an example of my child actually behaving, he behaving good. He was at church, and it was someone, he was sitting by himself, and then the Sunday school teacher told him to come over and sit with the rest of the kids. He came over with the rest of the kids. They got to throwing food, and one kid got upset and was like, "Hey, you're bullying my cousin," and then tried to get into a little tussle. Was kind of wrestling with them.
Not in God's house.
Right, and my son, very thing my son said, like, "Mom, I felt stupid. Like, why are you trying to argue and fight with me? And we in church." Like, he said he felt so stupid, and he was just like pushing the guy back, like, "Man, leave me alone. Like, dude, chill. We in church." So
behaving intelligently.
It was chaos going on around him, and a lot of food being thrown at him, and somebody trying to attack him. But he behaved intelligently while there was chaos going on, and then he was able to give himself gratitude and really authentically say, thanks, Mom, because some of the things I've been teaching him about making good decisions helped him.
That's great.
Like, hey, you know what? Like, okay, I am learning something. I am thinking better. Like, when you start to see things look stupid to you, like if you used to go out in the corner and stand on the corner all day, and then now you look at it and you be like, yeah, that's dumb. Yeah. Like, why am I sitting on the corner and I could be doing something, learning something, not just scrolling through YouTube to be scrolling, but really doing something.
Some skills of some sort.
Yeah, it's okay to chill. Right. Don't get me wrong, it's okay to chill, but have a plan too with your chill.
Yeah, right. Definitely.
Right. So with those, behaving intelligently through chaos, and now imagine giving gratitude authentically. We're going to talk about the 7 different learning styles, and based off your learning style, you can learn how to behave intelligently through chaos, and you can start to give authentic gratitude. Yes. Now giving gratitude authentically, you can authentically give gratitude when you learn your learning styles. I mean, most of us don't even think to know what our learning style is. We just learn, right? Yeah. We just go to school, or we go to work, or we go to class, or we go to training, or we go somewhere and we just sit there, we listen, we go to a seminar, we might even go to therapy. Shouts out to those therapists, shouts out, get some therapy, get some help, talk to somebody. Don't let them problems, those create demons in your head. It's your thoughts. You got to get your mind first.
Right. Clarity.
Yeah. So the 7 different learning styles, you got to learn your learning style. And the thing is, you can actually be connected to more than just one of these. It's just what's your main one.
Yeah.
What's the way you learn the most? Yeah, because different situations, different ones. So what's those 7 different learning styles, Steph?
So we have visual, we have auditorio, we have kinesthetic/physical, we have verbal, logical, social, and solitary.
So again, she said visual, auditory, kinesthetic, verbal, logical, social, and solidarity.
Yeah.
So with that being said, it just to break those down, and we're gonna have 2 episodes to break this down. We got 2 words, but we're gonna have way more than 1 episode to break all of this down and unpack this because we're gonna go into some different ones. And do you know your learning style, or do you know one you identify with the most?
The one I identify most with, I feel, would be visual.
Okay.
More than anything, I would say visual and verbal. I'm not bad at not listening. You know, I'm very stubborn, but verbal, I can hear and have that better mindset to know to listen. You know, to listen and see it through. And visual, especially if I see something, like I'm good with directions, driving the streets, knowing where I'm at in life, but I guess when it comes to being by myself, I don't prefer to really learn by myself. I like groups. Okay. So I would say my strongest ones would definitely be verbal and visual, honestly.
So that's interesting because I'm actually very logical.
Okay.
If it don't make sense to me, I ain't trying to hear it. I'm gonna hear it, but I'm gonna be like, that don't make sense. To a degree,
Like,
that don't make
I
sense.
respect it, though.
So I'm very logical in my approach to things. I actually like doing logical word puzzles and logic puzzles and stuff like that. I've been doing that since I was like little. Shouts out to my grandmama because she threw a book at me and was like, do this, and I thought it was fun, so I just kept doing it. And then my other one would definitely be more so, I'll probably say visual. I'm social, but I'm social because I have to be.
We all have to be.
Social is like collaborations and teams.
Yeah.
I don't mind working on the team, but I used to, when I was younger and I was in school, I wasn't bad in school. So when I got on the team, they always wanted me to do all the work. So,
yeah. So like he wasn't trying to be a leader. When there's a teamwork make the dream work.
And unfortunately, I was in management, so it was like,
right.
I don't really want to be no team,
right.
You know, because the leader usually has to take the bad. And they let the team take the good. That's how a true leader leads. Yeah, they let that. So you got to take on the bad, and you got to be the one to take on all the work. So I'm definitely going to be more visual. If you give me flashcards, graphs, you give me something visual. Like she said, she good with directions. You could tell me 7 landmarks, and I'll be there. I'm okay because her measurement of time is down the street for everything. So
and around the corner.
This library is literally like 10 minutes from my house, and she'll say, it's down the street. Like, no, I gotta go around 3 blocks, down 2 streets, and make a couple more turns.
Right, because logically
that doesn't make sense to me. So when she says down the street,
realistically, it is a few corners, but in
logically,
my head,
that does not make sense to me. So for me, when she tells me directions, I'm like, she gonna say down the street, but it's not down the street. But whatever, you know, that's me. That's logical. But if she gives me landmarks, and then she tells me, hey, remember, it's by this. My logic gonna jump in, and my visual is gonna jump in, and I'm gonna be able to get there. So logical and visual are definitely big things for me. If you took the visual away, I'm gonna be very logical. And sometimes it could be controversial with my logical because some people will feel like, attacked.
They shouldn't.
Because it's logic.
You can't take everything personal, but that's a good thing because that helps you weed out the people that you're expressing to definitely get you to understand where you're coming from logically, because life is full of logic. Like if you think about it, life is full of logic, like that, and being realistic about what's going on. You know, solidarity in the same sense, you know, you want to be independent and do things individual, but you need that team sometimes. So you got to put on your social shoes and be able to collab with team. Yeah, and make it work.
And I actually with solitary learning style, I don't mind working on a team, but I know how to do things to get it done myself. Yeah. And so, but a team helps you. So I'll give you an example. When I had to work on some shirts, I came back from a trip. I had been gone for a week. I came back, I got sick. I had 130 shirts to do. My team.
Put me in, coach.
My team. Shout out to my oldest son as well. Yes, he's always been working with me. He has his own full-time job now, well, part-time job now. As well as he ended up helping me. He's like, Ma, I got you. I was sick. I was down. I'm talking about barely could breathe, barely could stay up for long periods of time, like barely could stand for long periods of time. And they came through in the clutch, and it seemed like it went so much faster by having a team. So I know how to do stuff by myself, and I'm kind of stubborn, and I will do things by myself. However, my team came through and said, "Nah, we're not gonna even let you sit there like that and do that." And so yes, like she said,
and accomplished before the deadline,
way before the deadline.
Enjoyed the holiday,
and got to enjoy the 4th. Just to let you know, it was I had to order. The order was due like 2 days after the 4th. It was done like by the next day.
Right.
It was done the day after the 4th. Right. And still went out and enjoyed fireworks. Man, that's what my patterns and my graphs. I knew I had the patterns and the graphs, so I started doing numbers to her. Like, I think statistics. I'm a stats person. The crazy part is I hated stats in college and school, but I am a stats person. If you give me some stats and some figures, you got to make sense to me.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't make sense to me, that's why I say I know for sure logical is like, it's not adding up. 2 and 2 is never going to be 8. You're not making it work for me. 2 and 2 is never 8.
Yeah.
Make it make sense.
Make it make sense.
So if it's not making sense, it ain't making no dollars for me. Right. Nah, get it out my face. It
ain't logical. Not hardly.
Right.
Yeah.
But then I have a son who is very physical. So with the kinesthetics, he's physical. He likes physical touch. He's hands-on. He loves movement. He loves to move around. He's not very verbal. So this brings to the point that not only by learning your learning styles, you can sometimes learn other people's learning styles. And this is good for educators. So if you're an educator out here, please take note of this. Like, play this for your class, play this for your coworkers. Just think about what we're saying because it can help you educate somebody better. And I had to learn, like, my mom was one of them. I mean, shouts out, I love you, Mom, but my mom was one of them people, like, it was a back in the day household. Like, you getting yelled at, you getting your butt whooped, like, flat out. You get a call home, probably gonna get your butt whooped, right? If you probably gonna get yelled at. And we got so used to yelling, like, that's okay for us. But this generation, they kind of soft. They're not used to the yelling and the whoopings and all that. They're going to call 911 kids or 9616, whatever it is, kids on the... I don't even know the number because my mama would have gave me the number. Like, yeah, call them.
Call them. Shoot, I need help anyway.
Yeah, get them. I don't care.
Right.
But...
Packing your bags for you. Mama, but... Help me.
Look, give me my key back. You go ahead, leave the key.
Right. Here you your bag. I see you. Like, huh? No.
Yeah. So if you want children to behave intelligently through chaos and you want them to imagine giving gratitude, you have to learn their learning styles. Learn your partner's learning style. Learn your children's learning style. Learn some of your family. I mean, you got them.
Important as the 5 love languages. If
you don't learn their learning style, what happens is there's going to always be a disconnect between you and that person because you're not learning their learning style.
Right. And then become chaotic just trying to deal with one another because you won't be able to give gratitude for the small gesture that they thought they were doing for you because it meant something for them, but it didn't mean nothing to you. So you definitely want to behave more intelligently through the frustration. You want to give gratitude authentically just for the small things because you ain't got to be out here acting reckless and being no bitch or no nigga.
Why? Why would you want to be that or a bitch ass nigga? I mean, I'm just saying. I threw another word in there, but we can talk about that later. But I'm just saying, don't be
not the combo.
Don't be. I had to go with 3-2 punch. Like, you gotta. Anyways,
I can't. Yes.
In order to behave intelligently through chaos, you definitely have to know people's learning styles, and then that way you can kind of, like I said, I have a son, and my youngest son, my oldest, I can give him verbal. He's on it. He's like. He don't need no graph, no picture, no nothing. And he's solitary. So he's verbal and solitary because he's like, you could tell me something and I'm going to do it by myself. I don't need nobody.
Sound like an all-star.
Especially
son. And I'm like, looking at these, my kids, they not visual. the auditory, I could talk to them. I could give them the videos.
She going to pick one of these.
It ain't logical all the time.
They might be social and kinesthetic. How about that?
They might, but
they social and kinesthetic. I think I know for sure her middle child is probably more of a physical, like
he logical though. When it comes to it, he's more logical. That boy, he will.
Thank you for cutting my grass the other day.
Yeah, he will spit out something logical, and we had a little meeting. Me and the 2 oldest had a meeting, and we like get it how you live, and he talking and make it make sense. And then when the middle one, discusses something, the oldest one feel like he winding up him because he's making it make sense while talking. He doesn't have to say, you know what I mean, you know what I mean. He'll actually say what he means.
So you
without you trying to figure out, knowing
figure it out.
Yeah,
I'm going to give it to you.
Yeah, he's going to give it to you. So,
yeah.
But when it comes to like doing it, is on his time. So he take after his moms. And I wanted to touch on something when we talked about schools and the teachers.
Okay.
And just in the research that I was doing, school is a meaning based learning, and that means they're gonna tell you more of the meaning of things. They want you to know the meaning of things, like why we're doing the meaning versus the behind the scenes, like where it came from, where it generated from. So they want to give you meaning, and that's all well and fine, but we have to dig deeper. If you want to learn more, read more, change the globe, you definitely want to take that time and build your skill and your mindset in order to learn more by listening to lectures or music's based off of it, and seeing presentations and actually writing about it. So that, doing reports, once I was looking at it, wasn't bad because we had to put in that due diligence of what we were working on to come a long way. So it definitely makes a difference.
They were trying to make us independent learners and be individual. They was trying to teach us how to be an individual and not have to always need somebody. So school is more of they're going to give it to you, but you got to take those skills that they're giving to you and apply it.
Definitely.
So I had to learn that, and I think a lot of people don't learn it. They're just like, they're giving me busy work. Like, no, they're really not, because if you look at everything that they're giving you and then take it and apply it to the things that you're doing in your day-to-day life.
Right.
You can come up with,
especially reading and math, because we figuring out X. Now we know what X is. All them bills, them kids, that was X that they didn't even tell us about. Just solve for X.
That was like the taxes that they never really factored into their interest rates that I never knew was
loans and properties and businesses that we solve them for X right now. So there we go. So now I get it. I get gratitude because
I know where the X and the Y axis go. But I know if I keep effing around, I'm definitely gonna find out.
I know that's right. Yes. I don't want to
I don't want to either. Yes. So like she said, educators and others who present information to learners enhance the effectiveness of their lesson plan. So if you are a teacher, if you know your students' learning style, and you can't, I know if you're one teacher and you got 30 kids, it's hard.
Hats off to the teachers.
That's
a whole lot of love given for individuals back to back, multiple classes for what school being for like 260 something days. So hats off.
So what's your biggest goal is going to be to try to find lesson plans and instructional activities that incorporate strategies and apply to the students all across all learning spectrums. So try to find things that's going to help all of them. So like Steph said, we might have thought busy work, or we're more definition based, or it's take that and try to find something that you can incorporate in your learning plan that's going to help them be like, and then maybe even kind of touch on it, like, hey, you're a learning stylist. Because if somebody tells you that, you're gonna be looking at them and be like, what you trying to say? Right. I'm this, I'm solitary. What you trying to say? I don't know no solitary confinement. Like, no.
Think about it. You work together, you work better by yourself.
You love being an individual. Socials like collaborations and teams. Logical loves patterns and statistics. Verbal is writing and presenting. Presenting. So my like I said, my oldest is verbal. He can write a paper like no other. He's definitely very good at presentations. He's good at presenting himself. He's good at speaking. He needs to speak up sometimes. He got a deep voice, but he likes to speak very low. I don't know what that is.
Can't hear you.
Yeah, and then he's very good at his handwriting is better than everybody in this room. I bet you his handwriting better than yours. But I will say this, and he'll probably tell you. I started off with my mom's mother style, so I drilled him. No, write it over. It don't look right. Write it over. It don't look right. Write it over.
You got to know what you're writing.
And it helped him to this day. So now his handwriting is better. The teachers are like, your handwriting is better than mine, and I'm like, that's the one thing I can come out of that. Me drilling him made him better writer. If you're physical, you like hands-on and movement. And that's like kinesthetics, and you like to experience learning with your senses, like holding, touching, hearing, and doing. So instead of churning out instructions and expecting them to follow them, you kind of got to do different things, like encourage them to experiment with textures, paper, and different size pencils and pens and crayons. teach them diction or language, give them like words that incorporate in our daily conversations. Our youngest actually like throw big words out. They be throwing big words out all the time. Our youngest too. He'll throw out some big words at you.
12 going on 21. Yeah, and also to piggyback off of that, we need to ask more of the hows and whys than anything, because you want to know how it was done, and then most important, why it was done versus who did it. Because just like the telephone game, that in translation it gets mixed up.
It always does.
It gets mixed up. You're going to hear a little bit different just from the spin on words on how someone logically thinks about something.
Logical.
And if it's chaos, they definitely gonna screw up of what they saying, and then it be more hostile. And they can't give no gratitude because they didn't think about it. Right.
You know, and if you don't know how to deal with a chaotic situation, it's very hard to give gratitude. Yeah. And that's something that I had to learn even through chaos, like learn how to really give like thank you. And people think I'm being funny because I am sarcastic. I told you that's my second language.
Heard that.
But I really be like, I'm really grateful for everything that anybody does to me, because I don't ask for much help. So if I get any type of, it could be something simple. You could have just called my mom for me or turned my light out for me. I'm going to give you gratitude because you didn't have to do that. Mm-hmm. Matter of fact, like I said, my nephew, her son, her middle child, came and cut my grass past weekend, and then the guy who normally cuts my grass ended up coming anyways. So he doesn't have the edgers. So my nephew, I said, well, hey, you cut it, and can you edge it? And then he offered him to work up under him an apprenticeship. Like, hey, come work up under me and help me on the weekends because I need So we was working with like-minded successors. Mm-hmm. So he gave him that apprenticeship, and I was like, oh, that's what's up. And then not only on top of that, I still gave the original guy, tossed him a few dollars, and he was like, "You ain't got to do that for me just to edge up your lawn." I'm like,
giving gratitude.
You ain't have to do that. I had somebody else here cutting, and that's your normal job. They took your slot. You wasn't running a little late, but you know they took your slot. I don't want him to lose out because he didn't walk all the way down Warrensville Center. She said around the corner. He walked all the way around Warrensville Center Road to get to my house. Like he pushing the lawnmower and got all the way to my house. Right. The thing I'm going to show him gratitude too. So you go ahead and you cut, and then even though you didn't have everything that you needed, I'm gonna let him edge. Yeah. So anything you miss, he can come through and he can do, and then that way y'all work together. It was a collaboration.
It been chaos. Like why you got somebody? You know what I'm saying? If you think about it, but he saw he was a younger one.
I did communicate and told him before he got there, like you don't have to cut. Mm-hmm. So when he got there and I saw him, he was cutting my neighbor's yard because he cuts in mine's in my neighbor's yard. So when he got there, I was like, hey. Even better, I said, hey, I asked my nephew, like, hey, do you have edgers? He's like, nah. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to have him edge it, and I'm going to have you cut it. Right. And I'm going to still pay y'all both. I ended up paying the same amount of money I normally pay to get the grass cut. So it wasn't like I was, it was just two different people. We split the job in two. Yeah. And he was like, hey, you can come. Not only did he give him an apprenticeship, but he offered him some more equipment. Like, hey, I got some edgers for him if he wants some edgers. If he come up with such and such, he can have these edgers. Yeah. And now he can complete his business. So it was like, it really was like-minded successors working together. So they behaved intelligently through chaos, and they were able to give gratitude. Right. Both of them. Yes. And I gave them both gratitude for behaving that way because it was like, it could have went all wrong. Yeah. So. And that was this wise counsel that he, saw a young man making his honest living just as well as he was. And it's just nice because that was showing a nice love language as well as being physically there and being logical about the situation to like, oh, I could do it, and he couldn't, and they still made it happen. So that was definitely great. Yeah. Yeah. The only two that we didn't really touch on was the auditory, was the lectures and music. Mm-hmm. Like I said, my son, he's definitely verbal and auditory because you can just tell him something, he's going to get it. I can lecture my youngest son, that's going to go in his ear and out the other. He ain't hearing that crap. It's just that. It's straight lecture. Yeah. Right. Yeah. So he's he needs that visual. He needs that physical. He needs that. Like that verbal and auditory, he ain't trying to hear none of that crap I'm talking because he like, okay, I heard you. But that doesn't mean it resonated in his head. It's not logical to him. Visual, of course, is like I said, graphs, flashcards, seeing things like we like to write stuff down. I've seen graphs in Stephanie's house. I've seen charts in Stephanie's house. Some of them don't learn that way. So sometimes you might be wasting your time if you putting a chart up for a kid that don't like a chart. She has a lot of charts in her house.
You know how many charts and graphs
and they ain't doing it. They're
right. And I have a deduction jar. Just is now it's monetary. So they're gonna learn the eighth learning style. Monetary.
Well, yeah. I'm gonna be honest with you, she hit them where it hurts, and that's their pockets. Mm-hmm. They're teenagers, so that's their thing. So you gotta sometimes teach them something that they care about, because if I take my oldest son's phone away, guess what? He got everything Apple. Mm-hmm. So he got a MacBook, he got a tablet, he got a watch, he got the earbuds. So he like, yeah, you take my phone, I got my tablet. I got to take it all away.
Right.
My youngest, if I take his phone,
all the devices right here.
Yeah, stop playing with me. Hurt if you take his phone. Mm-hmm. My oldest, if I say you can't go to work, that's going to kill him. That's going to hit him with her. You're going to be like, what?
Yeah.
I got what? My money? And he don't even spend his own money, but it's the whole point of she not letting me get my money.
Right, his peace of mind and showing his sense of independence too. Yeah. So logically, he like, she tripping. So gotta stay in line. But yeah, I definitely I'm gonna add number 8 to a monetary, because they don't learn today. And it's technically
not a learning style, but we making our own up. We got our own ebonic dictionary. We can make that up too.
Heard that.
Let's do it.
Yes.
Yeah. So again, we just wanted to touch on how a bitch, I know y'all probably like, she cussing. Yeah, it's behaving intelligently through chaos and hostility. And then and a nigga is now imagine giving gratitude. How you can do these things by using your learning styles. And we're gonna be on this topic for at least another episode. We're gonna be on this topic for another, because we're gonna dive deeper into these. Hopefully you remember them. Hopefully you've seen the first one, so when we start the next one you can see. But go back and watch this if you didn't.
Those 7 learning styles: visual, auditory, kinesthetics, equal into physical. We have verbal, logical, social, and solitary.
7 of them. Yes. And you identify with one. You might identify with all 3. Right. Like I know I'm logical and I'm visual, but there's some times where I can listen. I can be verbal and auditory as well. Verbal, I'm not so verbal and auditory with directions, but I'm verbal and auditory when it comes to learning anything else. Yeah. You can tell me and I'm going to get it, but it has to make sense to me. Logically, if it doesn't make sense to me, I might have to ask more questions.
Right. And most people, excuse me to cut you off and cut your wisdom, most commonly known would be hands-on with the learning to be physical, especially nowadays.
For kids especially.
For kids especially, yes. And as you get older and you age and you get more wiser, it becomes more hands-on again too, for that matter. If that makes sense. They want to keep your mobile skills going. Yeah, your sensory, yes, because you don't want to draw away from your main gifts that you have. You got to stay sharp with your eyes. Make sure your ears are good. So you want to do those things that you're opening up your eye gates to more positive things. Your ear gates, you're bringing the right thing, because you don't want to bring wear and tear on your lifestyle by behaving in chaos so unnecessarily and not being able to give gratitude authentically. Like anybody can say, "Oh, thank you." We're not giving out dry thank yous. I hate when
my sons are very much gentlemen and they'll open the door for anybody, and I hate when they don't say thank you. I say close the door on them. I'm at the point where I've seen it to when a guy did a skit and he grabbed the girl and put her back inside the store and closed the door. Like, I'm not. You got to be.
You have to.
I ain't have to let
it's
you
not,
in.
It's not. Oh, and then I also tell mine, like, they have a family. Like, we're not gonna let the whole world.
I tell them
in,
pass the door.
I'm right
so
here.
How
I
tell my sons is pass it off to them. Especially if you see a gentleman coming.
Yeah.
You go
how to
in.
Walk up and
you just hold the door open from the inside.
Yeah.
Now, if it's a lady, you hold the door from the outside.
And wait,
but if she got a man with her, then you
hand
the door off to him. You keep walking and go in and hand the door off to him. It's a handoff.
Yeah.
Because I'm giving this to you.
That's just small bits of gratitude. It will pass it on and even make their next 5 minutes, at least the next 5, even if they was arguing. You never know one thing, but just those small things. And just to touch on something real quick, I was doing one of my jobs today, and I appreciated life so much more. I had a passenger in my car, and it broke me down because I like just listening to her story. She did not wear what she was going through, and it was unbelievable news. When she was done, I said, I mean, can I give you a hug? Yeah, that's a transfer of energy, knowing what she was going through. But I'm like, if you can't give nothing, I know for a fact right now this is making her day.
Right.
Not because it made mine, but it made me think on how thankful I am of the small things, thankful that for the people in my circle that I have in the life, no matter how small it is, it's bigger circles of family members suffering.
Right.
Suffering through so much chaos and hostility, and they can't even imagine, even being thankful through it because they don't want to. But she had the sweetest spirit. She had the sweetest spirit, and it touched me. It broke me down. Yeah. I'm a thug. Thugs don't cry. I cry.
She's a traumatized human being, unable to grieve.
Yes, but I'm working on it. Yes, absolutely. But it definitely, episode out. Yes, go back. But it definitely hit home, and my day's been great.
Yeah.
Because of that, and it was just like, oh.
And she learned the physicalness and hearing the story gave her that gratitude that she had to give.
Definitely.
So she authentically could show that gratitude. Yeah. And you can learn how to authentically show gratitude by just learning your learning styles and learning the people around your learning styles, your loved ones, your mates, your significant other, your children, your mom, your dad, your job. If you got a team, you're in management. But we don't want to keep you too long. So guess what? Next time we're still talking about these 7 learning styles. So we're going to, look out for part 2 of learning styles. But we got a new acronym because we like to throw these acronyms in there. Mm-hmm. So, even though we said bitch and nigga, it was an acronym. Mm-hmm. So we got another acronym coming for you, but it's going to be about the 7 learning styles. And we're going to touch a little bit more on things that we let get in our way of these learning styles and being able to give the gratitude and behaving chaos. And then we're going to talk about a new acronym on how you can do that.
Stay tuned.
So, again, my name is Ebony, and I represent ENDT's Ebony Onyx.
And I'm Stephanie, represent I'm Aware.
And together we are Group Economics. Get a shirt. Yes. Check us out. We got them in a lot of colors.
Don't forget that school giveaway drive is coming up very soon.
Yep. So, I believe that's August 12th, but I will keep you tuned in. Check below for all of the details.
Thank you.
Have a great day.